Special thanks to today's sponsor, War Thunder. Hear more on them later. But first, I have a confession to make. Propeller Pete still isn't very scary. Even after I made a new, way better model of him and made the airport so much scarier, he still doesn't really feel that intimidating. I mean, basically all he does is just chase you around. So today, we're fixing that because I'm finally making Propeller Pete scary. So let's just jump right in. Alright, first off, we need to identify everything that makes a mascot scary so that we can add those attributes to Pete. So to start off, I've identified 5 key traits that make mascots actually scary. And these traits are uncanny design, personality, environment, sound, and finally, lore. With these 5 simple traits, I think we can turn Propeller Pete from a lame sad jet into the scariest airplane mascot yet. And speaking of airplanes, I'd like to take a moment to give special thanks to today's sponsor, War Thunder. If you've ever wanted to take control of tanks, jets, helicopters, or even full-on warships from a bunch of different countries, War Thunder's got you covered. You can sneak up on tanks in the woods, run coordinated strikes with friends, or pilot the real Propeller Pete through intense dogfights. The game throws you into massive military battles with realistic physics and damage. And you can choose between chill, arcade-style matches, or full sim mode if you're feeling serious. You don't need to plug in any extra hardware either. You can drive any tank or fly any plane with nothing but your mouse and keyboard or controller. And if you're more into the engineering side, the game's progression system lets you research new vehicles, upgrade their components, and fine-tune your loadouts to match your playstyle. The variety here is genuinely massive. You can go from World War II era biplanes to modern attack helicopters in the same session. Plus, the maps are super diverse and interesting. While best of all, you can play War Thunder completely free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, and mobile. Just make sure to use the link in the video description or pinned comment to sign up. And if you make a new account or haven't played in 6 months, you'll also receive a giant bonus pack with lots of goodies for PC and console to give you a head start in the game. Besides 3 premium vehicles, you'll also receive a 50% experience and income booster, 2 advanced vehicles for rent, 100,000 Silver Lions, and 7 days of premium account time, available for a limited time only. So don't miss it. Now anyways, on to the video. So to get the ball rolling, I started out by analyzing Propeller Pete's design. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but I honestly don't think that the design of Propeller Pete is the issue with him not being scary. It has pretty much everything a mascot needs to fit with the theme. Naturally, since it's an airport and not a children's toy factory like every other mascot horror game, Propeller Pete is made of metal and not covered in fur. But apart from that, I think that the design of him is actually a strong spot. So honestly, I think we're fine to leave that. But if it's not his design, then what's keeping him from being scary? To find out, I felt like it was probably necessary to just load up Propeller Pete and play through the parts that we've made so far. Okay, here we are in Propeller Pete for the first time. You guys haven't seen it yet, but this is what it looks like. And I already know exactly what to do in this game, but I'm going to try and hide most of it so that you guys don't know how to solve the first puzzle, which lifts the gate up. And long story short, here he is. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. No. Propeller Pete, please. Propeller Pete, no. He's not even scary. He's not even scary. And look at, he just pauses. All right, so as of now, that's about all I have for Propeller Pete. And you can definitely identify some of the weak spots. When I first came up with Pete, I thought the idea of an airplane chasing you through an abandoned airport was peak horror. But after playing it, it's kind of balls. His personality, environment, sound, and lore all drastically need improvement to make him scary. So let's break it down and actually try and fix it. Right now, Pete has the personality of an angry puppy. He doesn't taunt you enough, he really only just chases you around. So I started giving him a bit more intent. I added some logic so that he stalks the player instead of just auto-targeting you like a bad aimbot. He now patrols, doubles back if he hears something, and pauses when he's thinking. Is he sentient? Is he following some sort of orders? To be honest, I don't really know yet, but leave your best theories in the comments. I'm just trying to give him a little more depth because a scary mascot with no depth is just kind of pointless. The second problem, this airport sucks. It's way too clean, way too bright, and definitely too structurally sound. I want this place to feel like it's been locked down for decades after some sort of a cover-up, so I started adding a little more decay. I added these broken monitors, leftover luggage, and random holes in the ground that the player needs to navigate around or over. I also made the lighting way darker. You can still see, but it's just overall a little more ambient. I wanted the airport environment to feel a little more hostile and less like a regular generic airport at night. Next issue, sound. Pete doesn't really have any sound besides the voice lines, which I am absolutely never removing, but the lack of sound overall in the game is pretty noticeable. It doesn't really have any tension and it's not atmospheric whatsoever. So I did a little digging into how sound works in Unreal Engine, and after a little research, I decided to make each individual area have its own audio volume. In these areas, I can specifically manipulate the reverb to make footsteps sound different in every area in the airport. So in the big areas, for example, it now has reverb that sounds like this. versus the small areas where there isn't nearly as much of it. Overall, way better, but it needed a little bit more to make it perfect. So I decided to add some distorted airport ambience, because there's some lore you guys don't know yet. But for now, you can just assume that some of the airport's electronic systems are compromised, and this can lead to random paging announcements in an empty terminal. For example,
final boarding for Flight 87 begins now.
I think this should be good to just add a little bit of tension. I'm obviously going to work a little bit more on the audio for the game, and eventually I want to produce some original soundtracks, but we'll see where that goes in the future. Finally, we have the big one left. Lore. This might sound obvious, but it's really hard to make something scary if the player doesn't understand what they're even supposed to be afraid of. So I started planting some lore around the map. Audio tapes, old documents, scratched out signage. Turns out Kiwi Air wasn't just a regular airline. They were running a top secret aviation project. And let's just say Propeller Pete was a prototype that was never fully decommissioned. Here's some examples so far of lost tapes. There are a few more I've made, but in order to see those, you're just gonna have to wait till I release the full game. But anyways, here they are.
With new destinations now available from Lakehart Airport, Kiwi Airlines is opening the skies to places you've always dreamed of. Whether it's the sunny coasts or the towering mountains, our flights are sure to make every journey a joy. No stress, no rush, just clear skies, comfortable seats, and service that makes you smile. From Lakehart to the world, the sky is never the limit with Kiwi Airlines.
So yeah, that's where I'm at. Alright, to end this video off, I have to acknowledge that I might have been a little bit too ambitious with this Propeller Pete project. It's taken me way longer than I expected, and the game isn't anywhere near what I want it to be. I originally wanted to release it sometime this year, but it's still really rough. There's plenty more to build, and I'm sure plenty of bugs to fix. But with that being said, this is the first time I've ever actually been scared testing my own game, which is either a huge win or a sign that I've finally lost it. Pete's definitely not fully scary yet, but he's getting there. And if I can stick with this without burning out completely, I think this might actually turn into the first horror game that I can say I'm proud of. Anyway, if you have any ideas for what Pete should say when he's chasing you, drop those in the comments. Bonus points if they rhyme too. Special thanks again to War Thunder for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to check out War Thunder now for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or on mobile, and use my links in the pinned comment or video description to register. There are some pretty crazy deals available right now for a limited time, so don't miss out. Alright, see ya!